I would very much like you to meet David Cameron, who's travelled over from Ireland to be with us tonight, but he is a Scot, hails from East Kilbride, although he has lived in Ireland, both north and south, for the past 2 decades. Now, in 2 books published his anti-novel, you may know it, Prendergast Fall, and this year, Taproot Press published his latest novel, Femke, which is set in Amsterdam, where David used to live. What an interesting life he's lived. He's published a lot of other novels, poetry collections, short stories, and a book about Samuel Beckett as well. In 2014, he received the Hennessy Literary Award for Poetry. So tonight he's going to be reading some of his older poems and some from his new book, which is called Red Dress, out in November, you've been told. David, welcome to Oranmore. Come up on the stage and entertain us.
I'm very happy to have been asked to read tonight in support of Gillian's novel. I thought I was doing well coming from Belfast, but when I heard someone's a performer from Wisconsin, well. So I'm just here to warm up the crowd with some poetry. I'm going to start with a few very short poems for my very short children, when they were very short. I like to give my poems modest titles, so this one's called Death Explained. The crab was dead. Look at the crab, I said. My son asked quietly, is it waiting for somebody? Hair. That my hair, as my mum said, was dirty fair, I never doubted. She wasn't one to gloat over feats of her son or praise failure. What of my son, and what is his? I tell him, golden, golden it is. No tigers. It's dark between the doors. My son looks out. No tigers? No tigers, no. That said, he is happy to go. I have no such fears. I have no such tigers. And this one was written, it was composed in my head in the car back from the hospital when my daughter Esme was born on Christmas Day in 2010. But we had the name Esme back, I think, in about 97, 98, so the poem is called The Wait. We waited for you so long, and now you're here. You're here at last. You're here, our wait is over. Our wait that went on so long. But you're here now. That's all that matters. Here with us, you're here at last. So the new book coming out in November is called Red Dress. This is a poem from it, and it's really a poem against punning. And I've got a bit of a cheat because there's a pun in the poem, dancing on the head of a pun. And the title of the book, Red Dress, is a pun on redress. But anyway, I suppose it's like a poem about being sort of tired of cleverness and just wanting straightforwardness. Something about the day, this slanting rain, renews me like a compassionate dream and leaves me wanting only honesty. The secret keeper dancing on the head of a pun might be good company, but wears all down. It's hard being with him, harder being him. Give me wide openness of light and air, at last the gift of truly being there. The rain so that the day won't seem just lucky. And in the nightmarish absence of you, love having failed like eyesight over time, the honest truth which all wants to return to. From one West End pub to another, Ginty's, there's a sequence that sort of recounts the story over the years of my relationship with my wife. This is called Lorca's essay, and there's the word in it, duende, the Spanish word, and it really means inspiration, except sort of being Spanish, it's darker and sexier. At Ginty's, I read to you Lorca's essay on the duende, whipping up a green wind to carry my sex to you. For what else is that dark but bodies breaking bread at an intimate supper where the guilt is spilled? This was in the beer garden. Then it was in the booth, the spine of the book resting on a barrel table. When I looked up, you said, "Don't stop." It's not really that different, I suppose, Glasgow's West End to Edinburgh's Morningside. This is called Bedsit. Boxed in Morningside, in your bedsit through October, we lay with our boxed up belongings, set in the dark like traps to injure. If we could survive this, and we did, then we could survive anything, and we haven't. Posh Edinburgh has many a dive. A holding place, a pit stop. Is it even worth remembering? The room reeked oddly of vanilla, flooded with light this side of morning. So your best poem is always the next one, but the second best poem is your most recent one. So this was written in the wee small hours of Tuesday this week. I was thinking, I suppose in a lot of relationships, a lot of couples, there's a giver and a taker. I'm just looking to see if anyone's looking around at their partner. But this poem was about the idea of, well, what if there are two people, if the couple, if they're both givers, would they learn to take also? I think this time I'll stop myself from falling down at your feet. I know I come on strong, like a poor man on the street with no home but the universe. The night winds blow in me too, but there's light, a warmth I can bring. I didn't mean to frighten you. When I used words like need and want, you stirred a memory in me of a hand, a loving hand outstretched, giving and taking endlessly. I'll finish now with a poem specifically for tonight, because I've been writing poetry since the age of 12, so there's quite a few by now. But they all have this in common, that they're involuntary in origin, so I don't sit down to write poetry come when I'm driving or in the shower or whatever, out on a walk. But I sat down to write this one because I was really intrigued by the concept of this book. And then the Jean Brodie, Muriel Spark, it conjured associations of my own, so I thought I would write this one especially for tonight. I might put my specs on for this. I think the font's only 20, not 24. Jean Brodie. When I was a student, two young women went to town on me. One pinned me down, oh yes, while the other stuck pins in me. Or so it felt, her hate was so great. The women were friends, had this in common. They wrote things down, used words like edge, and all was staccato, electric, erotic. Of course, their favourite writer's name was Spark. I was 18 and knew everything. The primer Miss Jean Brodie, pretty thin. Well, its spine was, and Geraldine McEwen, who terrorised school-dreading Sunday nights playing Brodie on the telly. Girls, girls, I would make of you the creme de la creme. As for the women friends, if one of them was my enemy, the other was my lover. Just the high drama Jean Brodie always craved. That's for you, Gillian. I hope you have a great night. Thanks very much.